Hello and welcome to today's Retail IT Community Roundtable, Best Practices to Sync Sales and Marketing. I'm Jim Roddy, Vice President of Marketing for the RSPA. Thank you so much for joining us today. For those not familiar with the RSPA, it's North America's largest community of VARs, software developers, vendors, and distributors in the retail, restaurant, and grocery verticals. We're a fit for any organization that's serious about growth in those markets. And many of our member companies have been part of the association for decades, and we frequently add startup tech companies because we accelerate their growth and they see the massive ROI that RSPA membership offers. So if you're serious about growth in the retail IT channel, just email membership@gorspa.org, as you see on your screen right there. And speaking of membership, going to turn it over to a minute to share a few of our community success stories to RSPA VP of Member Services, Ashley Nagy. Ashley.
Thanks, Jim. Hi, everyone. Wanted to share a few testimonials from some of our members. The first is Scott Duty, President of Interstate Cash Register. Scott shares the RSPA is a guardian angel on your shoulder. We have no other place to go to get the type of information we are getting. The association has been there for me. We are not alone. And that's a key reminder, with an industry the size of ours and with a community the size of ours, it's a great place to do that knowledge sharing and to help you feel welcome and be able to bounce ideas off one another. Next up is Mike Nicholson, co-founder of Positive Technology and OpsSuite Software. Mike shares, if you are in the POS industry, this is the place to make contacts. Connections are something that we specialize in, getting to know you and your business and helping to match make and pair you with other solution providers that you can connect with. And last up is Danny Hernandez, CEO of Global Business Technologies. Danny shares the RSPA is providing an excellent service to the POS VAR community. I have learned valuable insights. So again, just reinforcing the valuable connections and insights that you wouldn't get by going it alone.
Great, thank you, Ashley. We also want to share with you a couple notes about RSPA education. Thank you for attending today's roundtable. That means you're interested in getting more educated about our industry. Later this month, Tuesday, March 23rd, 2 p.m. Eastern, we're hosting a workshop called Dysfunctions of a Virtual Team. Everybody who is on today's session should have received an email from the RSPA actually earlier today. So if you want to participate, please click on the link in that email. As you see on here, there are a limited number of seats. Like sometimes they say there are a limited number of seats, but there actually are for this one, for this workshop, because it's so interactive. So respond to that, or if you want, use the chat function and just let us know that you're interested. And RSPA Marketing Communications Manager Chris Arnold will be sure to connect you and give you all the information you need to sign up for the workshop, Dysfunctions of a Virtual Team, hosted by HR expert Chelsea Paulson of RSPA member Keystone Group International. Also, speaking of the RSPA Academy, we have a new benefit that we are sharing. Very excited that the RSPA is designing the RSPA Academy e-learning platform to enhance the association's ability to deliver quality education. It's going to enable us to offer members online learning experiences anywhere, anytime, from any device. Topics will include cybersecurity, basic and advanced sales, developing great leaders, finance or small businesses, plus recruiting and hiring. The e-learning platform is also going to offer learning experiences that are uniquely developed by subject matter experts in the retail IT community to help further our members' success in our industry. So this content is unique to the association. You can't purchase this anywhere through another third party. And so we can do all this, the e-learning program, at a fraction of the cost that our members are typically confronted with. There's a pilot underway right now, and general release is May 1st. There's still some spots in the pilot program. If you'd like to participate, just follow the URL that we have on your screen right there. And if you'd like more information on RSPA Academy education, e-learning in particular, you can just email that magic email, membership@gorspa.org. And let me turn it back to Ashley Nagy for a quick update on Retail Now 2021 in Nashville. Ashley.
Thanks, Jim. So we are super excited about Retail Now 2021, July 25th through the 27th. We are really expecting this to be the coming out party for the retail IT channel. It's been, by that time, 18 plus months since VARs, ISVs, and vendors have gotten together under one roof. We just launched registration almost 2 weeks ago, and the response has been super positive. Really looking forward to a big event and expecting about 2,000 attendees, about 160 exhibitors, and at the end of the day, we're going to have a safe event, but one where we can all be together again for sure.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Ashley. And I also want to take a moment to thank our sponsors. RSPA's 2021 annual sponsors at the platinum level are Blue Star and Shift 4. Our gold sponsors are Heartland and ScanSource, and our silver sponsor is Star Micronics. And also, this is a special presentation of an RSPA Retail IT Community Roundtable sponsored by the RSPA's NextGEN Community. And we want to thank our sponsors for that as well, APG Cash Drawer, Blue Star, Star, and Epson. And before we get going, just want to introduce RSPA President and CEO, John Kirk, to kick us off. John, turn it over to you for a minute.
Thank you, Jim. You know, when you think of some of the ingredients that go into success, you got to think of passion, and you also got to think of track record, meaning the experience folks have had as they bring into the battle every day. And I think you're going to find our featured guests today will bring a strong measure of track record and passion. And that's really what the RSPA is about. When you stop and think about just an exchange like this, anytime we have a chance to listen to one another and share, we realize we've got such a unique platform here at the RSPA. It's a platform that allows you to hear new ideas, hear from folks that have done things that maybe you're working to achieve, or maybe even some things you hadn't even thought about, and ultimately it accelerates your success. And you also have an opportunity to share what you've done and some of the lessons learned. And that's such a unique platform. And when you consider the NextGen community and what the NextGen influence means to our association, it's powerful because it's the new ideas, the new ways to win, the getting knocked down and getting up again, and having that energy and insight and creativity that ultimately drives success. So, you know, I want us to think about an event like this as really an opportunity to listen, an opportunity to feel what was learned on that journey that you'll hear from from our featured guests, and feel the passion, but also look at it this way. You're going to get something that helps you add to your foundation. You're going to get something today that helps you build a foundation. And if you are one of our featured guests, and we're so happy to have these four terrific professionals sharing today, know that you're giving somebody something that's going to help add to their foundation. So, Jim, we're looking forward to this, and we want to thank our featured guests for participating, and we thank all those that are out in attendance, because we're going to have a valuable learning session. So take it away, Jim, and let's get started.
Great, thank you, John. So today's session is going to be an open forum information sharing discussion. Please note the views and opinions expressed during this roundtable are those of the participants and don't necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the RSPA. Also, we've asked everybody on today's call to avoid sales pitches and to identify themselves when they speak for the benefit of our listeners. And let's identify for you our special featured guest today, hailing from three different countries. First, we have Matt Dockrell, the head of partnerships from Pointy from Google. We have Melissa Miledi, the product and partner marketing manager for Vend in Canada. Matt is coming to us from Ireland today. And then representing the United States, we have Alejandro Swaby, director of sales at Cervion Systems, a reseller based in New York, but also doing business in Pennsylvania and Florida. And then we have Brianna Moriarty, the partner development manager at Star Micronics, who will be serving as today's moderator. And so this group will have a conversation for about 20-25 minutes. Then we will open it up to everybody in attendance to share your questions, comments, perspectives today about syncing sales and marketing. So Brianna, let me turn it over to you and the panel.
Thank you, Jim. Hey everyone, I'm Brianna Moriarty from Star Micronics. As Jim mentioned, I'm the partner development manager there, which puts me in kind of the perfect position to sync sales and marketing. So I want to thank everyone for being here and thank our featured guests. First order of business, we want our featured guests to introduce themselves and tell us about the dynamics of their organization and how they work within the sales and marketing teams. So let's just go down the line and start with Matt.
Yep, so Matt speaking. I work with Pointy from Google, formerly Pointy, acquired January 2020 by Google. So now we sit within the Geo part of Google. So that's maps, and mostly organic products. And we have a retail solution that helps retailers to get their products online and push inventory out across like Google Search, Maps, like Shopping Assistant. In terms of sales and marketing, we sell both direct and through the channel, and from marketing, like a mix of lots of different stuff, from inbound marketing, outbound, and yeah.
Great, thank you, Matt. Melissa?
Thanks, Brianna. Hi, everyone. My name is Melissa. I've been with Vend for just over 6 years now. I am the product and partner marketing manager. So I work really closely with our product reseller channel, as well as our product partners, creating go-to-markets and getting everyone both internally and externally aligned for a successful launch. A little bit about Vend. We were founded in 2010 in Auckland and is the world's first cloud-based point-of-sale solution. We are a global organization with offices across the world in Toronto, Colorado, London, UK, Melbourne, and Auckland, of course. Our focus is on small to medium-sized retailers. We have about 350 employees spread across the company, actively working with all of our retailers across the world. There are approximately 60 plus salespeople and about 10 people in marketing. In terms of sales, we do go to market in 2 ways. So we have an outbound channel. This is where retailers find us online and contact us, and our account executives will carry on that conversation and demo Vend. And then our second channel, and my main focus, is the partner ecosystem, where we work with tier 1 processors all the way to tier 4 individual agents. And that's about it.
Thank you for sharing, Melissa. Alejandro, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Again, my name is Alejandro Swaby, Director of Sales here at Cervion Systems. I've been with the company for right about 5 years now, and I work and manage revenue growth for the company here in our 3 regions. We're in Pennsylvania, New York, and South Florida. Cervion has been in business since 1996, so that's 25 years, and we're a regional point of sale value-added reseller and early adopter of the as-a-service subscription model. Most of our customers are in the restaurant space, and each region has approximately 1 to 2 salespeople supported by local installers and technicians. As far as our marketing team, we're a team of 4. So we have a social media manager, a graphic web designer, as well as a full-time marketing manager, plus myself on that team as well. And our sales team offers solutions to restaurants. We typically offer them face-to-face on a local level. We educate and take a very consultative approach with our customers when it comes to sales and marketing. And we sell on benefits instead of features, but our primary selling points is bundling the as-a-service point-of-sale system bundled with local service.
Got it, thank you. So a little bit more about my role and Star. As the partner development manager at Star Micronics, I kind of act as the glue between the sales and marketing team. We're a channel-based company. So where we're selling our product, we're also usually marketing to other audiences. So it's very important to stay synced between that sales and marketing effort. So Alejandro, I want to bring the conversation back to you, because during your introduction, I noticed, your title is Director of Sales, but it seems that the marketing team that you have is working directly under you. So tell me, from a management position, what are your best practices in syncing the sales and marketing, and why do we have your marketing team reporting to a director of sales instead of a traditional director of marketing?
Yeah, so I think that's a great question. I think the key word in there is syncing, and so I'd say that the best practice that we've had on the sales and marketing side is aligning everybody with our weekly meetings, aligning each other with our weekly and monthly metrics. That means that marketing is going to attend sales meetings. It also means that we're going to reinforce marketing and sales through a group workshop on a weekly basis. And while my while my title is Director of Sales, I think the emphasis on our side is that sales and marketing are effectively under one roof, where we kind of need to have that two-way communication back and forth in order to be successful to that degree. Again, since we're selling and providing solutions locally and regional, it's very important for us to have that productive and efficient sync.
Yeah, I completely agree, and especially the point about having the marketing team join the sales calls and group workshopping at STAR. We often do a lot of internal sales trainings throughout the year, and marketing is always a part of that because their job obviously is very heavily revolved around what opportunities you have and what the market looks like, and who's better to identify that than the sales team that's out in the field and doing that work.
Absolutely.
So Melissa, I also wanted to bring it back to you. Something you mentioned during your intro was that it seems that Vend has a much smaller marketing team compared to the sales reps. So tell me about that and how, a smaller team is able to keep things flowing with a larger sales group.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Alejandro really sort of hit the nail on the head there. I think the key thing was keeping everyone synced and connected and knowing how everyone works. Over the years, we've discovered that as a marketing team, we often work best when we respect that sales is an engine and they work within their processes. Any campaigns that we do sort of as marketers has to work within the processes and tools that our sales team already use. Any extra processes that we try to throw at them can oftentimes become hurdles to the progress of leads through the funnel. So as a team, both marketing and sales leaders, like Alejandro said, have frequent meetings to stay connected and talk through current challenges, what their needs are, or even new processes that the sales team might be implementing. This will help us then to understand and work through what sales needs to be successful, as well as ensuring we're surfacing leads to the sales team at the right time in their journey with the right expectations. And again, prioritizing team enablement, that's something that we sort of have been doing for quite a while now. We have sort of monthly or bi-weekly meetings with sales, with the product team showcasing new features, launches of new product partnerships. This just makes sure that our sales team is always armed. We're always talking and communicating with them, and they are best armed to sort of pitch Vend as not only a point of sale, but as a point of sale solution that will just help our retailers grow.
For sure. And I specifically want to point out what you said about leads. I think, when you look at a sales and marketing team that isn't synced in their efforts, the marketing team might be doing all this work to bring in more business and, promote certain products. But then if the sales team is not aware of the work that the marketing team is doing, then there's a huge disconnect when it comes to actually reaching out to those leads and closing the deal. So with that, Matt, I wanted to ask you, how does your sales and marketing team manage promotions and bringing in leads, and how do the two teams work together to decide how that's going to work?
Yeah, from our side, I suppose it's all about aligning goals, right? So if we're trying to think about like leads and, is it channel or direct, like what types of campaigns are we running? So if it is going to be, if we're going to have our direct sales team reaching out to prospects in similar territories where we might have channel partners, for example, like what are the attribution mechanisms that we're using in terms of marketing? Is it, first click or last click? Like what are we trying to achieve, or what are we looking to measure? Is it like pure lead volume, or is it, around number of signups or activations? If we're working with a channel partner, for example, like when we first started our channel team, we were working a lot with retail associations. So, we were trying to align our goals and our messaging with that of the association. So like what did our membership want to hear? So if we're working with a retail association, pharmacy, like what's important to them, what's topical. Like a lot of the time at retail associations, it might be more about education, but as our channel strategy matured, we were working more and more with resellers, right? And you know, a lot of the time in the payment space, where maybe they were more motivated from the financial side or stickiness. So we were trying to create maybe, you know, more marketing materials where there was clear call to actions that were around, you know, driving activations or converting, you know, potential prospects. So it really depends on, you know, what we were like trying to achieve, aligning the goals internally with our partners, with sales managers, and I suppose everything was underpinned from, you know, with the marketing team.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I also think that, you know, a lot of times people kind of get caught up with sales and marketing kind of being like the what came first, the chicken or the egg scenario. You know, who's really driving the messaging, who's deciding what markets you're going to go after, which, you know, prospects are going to be the focus of this month or quarter. So Matt, from your perspective, how does that get driven within your company?
The type of prospects that we're looking at, I suppose it depends on what are we measuring again, like what from the retailers that we've onboarded or worked with, like, you know, which verticals would have the highest LTV? Like, is it smaller corner stores or could it be larger hardware stores? So, you know, if we started with where we were hoping to end up, which is like a qualified, you know, active merchant, and our platform is, you know, we were operate off a freemium model, so you know, the service is free, and then there's an ads component as well. So trying to see, you know, like how can we not only just acquire new retailers, but acquire, you know, well-informed retailers who understand the service, know how it works, and will be super valuable. So by understanding like the type of retailers that we want to have further down the bottom of our acquisition funnel, it's easier to identify like what kind of campaigns we should run. And then we can tailor that. Like if we're speaking to pharmacy again, rather than talking about products, we're talking about over-the-counter goods or over-the-counter products. Or if we're talking with, I don't know, like pet stores, like what are pet stores most interested at the moment? Is it, you know, CBD products for their dog, or, you know, what's the new thing that everybody's talking about? And then if we're talking about, you know, I suppose in-store or more online or more in person. I know in person isn't really a thing for the last year, but you know, what type of trade shows are we going to? If it's outbound sales compared to, you know, more inbound marketing, you know, if it's outbound sales, like who are we trying to talk to within that, you know, within that store? Is it the manager? Is it a marketing, you know, a marketing lead? Or if it's a larger group, you know, is it somebody who's on the product side because it's more of an integration? Or so it's really just understanding like who we're looking to work with and who would be most valuable as a customer, and then, you know, kind of taking a few steps back and then understanding all the steps that we need to take to get to, you know, acquiring that customer.
Yeah, absolutely. Alejandro, I'm curious to hear your perspective on the same question. Who kind of drives the decision making on what your message is going to be?
You know, I'd still jump back to the collaborative side. I think our team is generally small and nimble enough to where if we need to get our group of 4 marketing people together and gather up 3 or 4 of our sales folks together on a call, you know, we'll workshop some ideas. We'll come up with a campaign for the quarter, and then ultimately, you know, make a vote, and then you know, try to have management approve that campaign and move forward with those next steps. In almost all scenarios, it is a team and collaborative effort, and it usually makes sense and allows us to make decisions on the fly.
That's great. So I want to get more into some of the tools that you guys are using in order to, you know, promote syndication between your sales and marketing team, especially with most of us being home for almost the past year now, trying to work together virtually, not being able to just walk over to, you know, a sales or marketing person's desk. So Melissa, can you give some insight on some software or tools that Vend is using to kind of promote that syndication?
Yeah, absolutely. This is it's almost a loaded question because there's so many tools, different tools that we use both for internal use and external. So I'll kind of kick it off with the external before going internally. But because Vend, we're sort of built on the cloud, we try to use the most modern tools for both retailers. In terms of making sales and marketing work together, we heavily use outreach. It allows us in marketing to set up email cadences or sequences easily, but also gives salespeople a chance to customize or make minor changes as they see fit or are more comfortable with. What's really great about outreach is that it also gives us the reporting functionality to be able to track engagement with mass volumes of emails. This allows us to figure out which emails or cadences work better than others and can be used more consistently with other teams sort of across the business. The only important note that I'd want to make when doing automated emails is really thinking about the voice you're using and who the email sender is. There are a lot of benefits to automating emails, but you also want to ensure it doesn't conflict with one-on-one conversations your sales teams are having. At Vend, we always try to keep automated emails more generic and use group emails such as like partners@vendhq.com or sales@vendhq.com. Another helpful tool that we find is Intercom. This is great because you can actually capture a retailer's interest while they're in your product navigating through it. So we can sort of trigger an Intercom message, which just will pop up in the window based off of a retailer's actions, or if there's so many days in their trial. And that sort of allows us to ask them if they need any help or start that conversation directly in app. And then from there, a sales team are able to take that conversation outside via phone call or email and continue that on for further discussions.
Great. So when you were talking about outreach, you mentioned that you guys are able to track engagement on emails and some of the other marketing automation stuff that you do. Are you using these reports to then go to sales and say, this is the list of people most interested in X topic?
Yeah, exactly. So that's where we can pinpoint where the most interest lies, or even from a marketing perspective, we can actually see like the open and click rates. So we can say, okay, well, this email performed really well. This is capturing a lot of interest, or this subject line doesn't work. So let's use this, and we'll sort of update and edit our sequences based off of other emails and other sequences we've created to create something that is really powerful and will really reach the audience and capture the results that we need.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt, how about you guys? What kind of software tools are you guys using?
Most of the stuff we've been using was all built in-house from, like early on we had some marketing automation tools, like you'd be very familiar with. One was, it was outreach, like Melissa mentioned, like MailChimp and some other marketing automation tools, but a lot was built in-house. So even from internal systems that, if our outbound sales team, when we have like new leads that would enter into our sales funnel, that we built internal tools that would follow or track that the customer the whole way from lead all the way through from through sales, through success or support success, from onboarding, and then on an ongoing basis. So a lot of our tools, even now from the email side, are in-house built tools. So, and I suppose in terms of other tools to help with working remote right now, it's been a lot of like Google Workspace. If we're talking about the tools that would help us to collaborate with other teams internally. A lot of the stuff that people are familiar with, if it's like shared calendars, like online hosted docs or sheets. And yeah, I probably wouldn't be the biggest expert on third-party tools, because a lot of the stuff we've been using had been built in-house. Like both founders would have been engineers and had been built from the ground up.
Yeah, I mean that's extremely impressive. What you were mentioning about the internal tools just for collaboration, we started using Microsoft Teams this year. We were a little late to the game, but it has insanely helped our ability to collaborate within teams. For example, our sales team, they'll log call reports. I can easily just pop into that channel whenever I need to see which partners need additional attention. And it really helps to collaborate when you can't be in person together. Alejandro, you seem to have a bit of a smaller team. Do you guys use any tools like that for collaboration?
Yeah, so I'll agree with you on the Microsoft 365 Teams. It's been ingrained into our day-to-day. That's what we use for our internal meetings. We've recently started using Teams for external webinars as well, in addition to GoToWebinar, which has been working actually very well, surprisingly. And there's actually a functionality inside Teams that we use, which is the planner tasks, which kind of makes a Trello type board. And we found that to be really useful on our side.
Yes, that is one of my favorite features in Teams. It makes everything really easy to follow. So I really appreciate all the insight. I just want to kind of close out by hearing what are some of the new sales and marketing strategies that you plan on investing in or planning to use in 2021. And Matt, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so from our side, it's probably more integration partnerships. And like we would have started off, like I said earlier, with lots of more referral partnerships onto reseller partnerships. And because there's a hardware element, so a merchant can either work with a piece of hardware or through a point of sale integration. And really this year, we're just looking to double down on these integration partnerships, right? So we can actually, suppose, grow our customer base by working and aligning ourselves with other partners in the point of sale space. So, if, like, for example, if you're talking about some of the goals that we're looking to align with, if it's point of sale providers that are looking to, increase processing volume, for example, like how can we align Pointy's messaging with that? Like how can we help retailers to, get more customers in store, more in-store sales, more processing volume, and like how can we try to bring in, some of the Google side as well now that we're a Google product? Like, can we add more value in terms of co-marketing or, just like, I suppose, testimonials or case studies? So I suppose it's a mix of going deeper on some partnerships in point of sale, with other SaaS platforms, and then looking at evergreen opportunities. Like, if a merchant's being onboarded to one point of sale, how can we help to, to help them to show their inventory out across Google, so that they're stickier customers for the point of sale provider, and that there's also huge benefit on the merchant side. So, our main sales strategy is more technical integrations and just working more closely with our partners.
Yeah, for sure. Melissa, how about you guys? What are some of the plans that Vend has for 2021?
Yeah, it's a little challenging with we're still living through COVID, but similar to Matt, we're focusing on a lot of our partners and building integrations with them. So that is ongoing, and we're getting deeper with a few. We're still kind of waiting to see how things go with events this year. I mean, being in Canada for us, it's a little bit more challenging as we're still kind of making our way through the lockdown, but we're looking forward to see how we can rebuild this channel, particularly for the partner team. But beyond that, I think content is really one of our main focuses. We did a really great job last year releasing helpful information for retailers on how to reopen safely and apply for funding and all of that stuff. We also added product features that were particularly relevant for this year. I think the key thing is really giving retailers and prospects helpful information and tools to set them up for success, which will, again, continue to be our main focus, just especially during this time.
Absolutely. And Alejandro, how about you? What new sales and marketing strategies are you planning to bring to your team this year?
So I didn't mention it earlier, but we use HubSpot in order to kind of align sales and marketing in sync. So I should have mentioned that a little bit earlier. We're generally very happy that we have insights into our customer visits and whether they're unique visitors on our website. I'd say for this year we're expanding the use of our CRM. We're implementing some solutions there for some added frictionless, I like to call it frictionless convenience for our new customers to choose us and to choose to do business with us. So, I was kind of talking with some folks earlier on the call, and, I was doing some traveling. Instead of renting a car, I chose to use a Uber or Lyft. And I kind of liken it to that, where we're not actually doing a transaction. It's a frictionless option for our customers to do business with us. And so we're building in some proposal tools and some workflow type tools built into the CRM to kind of make that lead to deal to opportunity to a green lighted customer expedited. So that's one of the ones. On the other side, I'd say building our YouTube channel. We see that there's a lot of value in video now that we're having less face-to-face opportunities, just kind of jumping off what Melissa said. And so having some on-demand YouTube that we can embed into emails or embed into some type of marketing collateral with a QR code. I know I just put a QR code in the back of my business card and our sales team's business card. So, we're being creative. We're adding different tools on in order to make it easier for these folks during these times. And we are thinking about in-person events and different ways that when things open back up, how could we better engage with with our prospects and buyers, and maybe bring them together and do some different types of education-based events.
Yeah, that's great. Definitely really interesting, especially since, like you mentioned, the future of in-person events is still, a little unclear.
Absolutely.
Yeah, from the Star side, we are kind of following similar routes to everyone that, spoke. So we're putting a lot of emphasis on helping our current VARs and ISVs continue to find business through challenging times. We launched a new partner program in 2020 and are continuing to use that to try to help protect and empower our partners with different resources that they can use to continue selling. And of course, continuing to focus on digital, as we are all hoping and praying that by second half we can start traveling again, but it's just unsure. So we're definitely putting a lot of emphasis on our digital lead generation and marketing. So again, I want to thank all of our featured guests. You guys were great and provided some really insightful information. At this time, I'm going to turn it back over to Jim Roddy to open up the Q&A.
Great, Brianna, thank you very much. Also, Alejandro, Melissa, and Matt, thank you for your insights. A lot of times folks ask me, what's the future of the channel look like? Who are the next people? Who's going to be stepping up? And I think you just heard from 4 of them right now. So this is your opportunity. Now we're going to open it up to everybody who's attended. Your chance to share a question for the featured guests, share your perspective, comments, observations about sales and marketing, address any of the challenges that you're having. I know looking at the audience that we have here, a good group on hand, a lot of folks are sales and marketing professionals, would really love to hear your perspective as well. So use the question function, use the chat function in order to submit that. And while you are getting those together, just want to give you a quick reminder. Again, save the date for Retail Now 2021, July 25th through 27th in Nashville. Registration is open now, so head on over to the website after today's roundtable and be sure to sign up and book your room at the Gaylord. Also, thanks to our NextGEN Community sponsors, APG Cash Drawer, Blue Star, Star Micronics, and Epson. And then thanks to our annual sponsors, again, the Platinum, our Blue Star and Shift 4, Gold, our Heartland and ScanSource, and Silver is Star Micronics. All right, so again, this is your opportunity now to weigh in and ask your questions, share your ideas, talk about your challenges that you have going forward. We even planted some seed questions in here as well. So if you want to weigh in and share with us what's your biggest sales and marketing sync challenge, what's worked best for you to keep your teams in tandem, talk about your tools. We got to hear Outreach, Intercom, MailChimp, shared calendars, shared documents, Microsoft Teams and the planner inside of that, HubSpot, and then also some in-house development, which we've noticed a lot of RSPA ISV members tend to do, right? They see a tool and they're like, we can do better than that, and they build it for themselves. So what are you doing from a tool standpoint as well? And then how often do your sales and marketing teams meet to realign on strategies, goals, and priorities? And then also, what are some new sales and marketing strategies and tactics that you're planning to invest in 2021? So again, feel free to weigh in with any of those perspectives. we do have some questions here for our featured guests, and want to ask them to the group. One is, it was mentioned earlier about getting marketing and sales to engage with each other, and I'll throw this out to whoever wants to take it. How do you keep your sales and marketing teams in harmony? Oftentimes marketing folks don't want to interact with the sales team as much as they want to interact with other folks on the operations or marketing side of the business. So I'll throw it out to the group there in terms of what things do you do just to promote harmony between the sales and marketing teams.
I'll take
Matt,
that one,
Melissa?
Jim. Alejandro.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
So I think a lot of it has to do with the job description. We were lucky enough when we were looking to build on and add to our marketing folks. We have a very open discussion as far as they will be interacting with sales. So it's not a surprise. It's a transparent process, and we set measurable outcomes, and the alignment is there when we put the job description together. So I think that on a high level, that's how we create harmony on that side. And I'd say on a week-to-week basis, it's just ingrained that it's just part of the process. We're aligned on the same goals, and I'd say while we have different constructive disagreements, we're all in agreement at the end of the day once the decision is made.
Got it. So you manage expectations up front, and it's no surprise for a marketing person that they're going to play a key role on the sales team, and vice versa. Thanks, Alejandro.
Exactly.
Anybody else want to weigh in on that question about having, what actions do you take to increase and engage in harmony between sales and marketing teams?
Yeah, hey Jim, I can add to that. So again, the transparency is key, but I guess like we had sort of mentioned earlier, I think just frequent meetings and having sort of the team leads or managers always connected and up to speed on their processes, and again, understanding sort of the engine of sales and how sales work together, how marketing works together, and making sure that they're always aligned and working towards that same goal is going to be key to making sure that everyone stays in sync, and that we all work together then rather than sort of butting heads or working separately and trying to force it to come together.
Thanks, Melissa. And can I just ask a follow-up to that? Like, how frequently do you meet? Because if there's one thing, you ask somebody what drives your job satisfaction, nobody says longer, more frequent internal meetings, right? But you have to have them to have people stay on pace. So how much is too much? What have you found to be a good sweet spot for the frequency of those teams syncing up?
Yeah, honestly, I think just having a monthly sort of meeting, but I think what's really key and something that, to be honest, takes time to figure out is knowing exactly who should be in those meetings. There was a time where we were having so many people in our meetings, and they just become, very expensive meetings because there's so many people on so much input. But I think once you start having those frequent meetings, you can really start to narrow down who should really be in it, and who can take that information and deliver it to the rest of their teams and iron out further. But smaller meetings with necessary people, and just I say once a month is all you really need, and more if there's a lot that's going on or processes are changing.
Got it. Great, thank you. And let's get to some of our other questions. Again, if you want to submit a question, just use the chat function or use the question function and just let us know you have a question. We'll be happy to unmute you and call on you for that. So here's another question. And so I guess Brianna or Matt, if you guys can take this one. How do you understand your target audience, your avatar, the hot terms that you want to use in your marketing materials and your sales conversation? So I guess that's a question of how do you stay close to that target audience? So Matt, if you want to take that first, and then Brianna.
Yeah, I'd say, like to start with, it's understanding who you're trying to talk to by like what specific, for us anyway, from the Pointy side, is like what type of retailer are we talking to? What vertical are they in? Like, what are the problems that they face? Listening to the customers that we have already to understand like what kind of challenges they have in front of them. And then after that, it's really just like understanding the data behind past campaigns, right? And, before you double down on one specific campaign, maybe you do, lots and lots of A/B testing. So if we understand from one cohort or one segment of our customers that I don't know if it's like more in-store sales resonates, super well with hardware stores, or more online visibility, or some product, like if it's the big green egg for hardware stores that they're really trying to sell, and you're coming into spring season, summer season, like how can we first understand and listen to the existing customers we have that are saying, right, this is a product that we want to sell more of, and understand that the margins and the type of products that they want to drive more foot traffic into their store for, and then test a bunch of subject, a bunch of copy, understand what works really well, and then go to market to maybe that broader cohort within that hardware segment, with that email that's been tested, it's been validated from a bunch of different tests, and optimized, and then just have, I suppose, the right mechanisms then to convert that retailer out the other side, and from the type of messaging, if you're understanding like what the call to action is from a certain marketing activity, right, that can help to definitely.
Got it. Thank you, Matt. Yeah, so Matt, you're talking about niche marketing, and so that takes us to even a more complex way to sync your sales and marketing team. It's not just in general terms, it's how are we syncing up on each one of these markets. So thank you for that. Brianna, I know you embrace niche marketing a lot. Can you talk about and answer this question that we just posed to Matt about how to STAR stay close to its target audience and understand what's the right terminology to use for each of the markets that you're marketing to?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, to kind of go off of what Matt said, we definitely do get really nichey, not only with the markets, but with titles and responsibilities within the company as well. Being a vendor, if we're looking for an ISV to integrate a new product, then we're not going to target, their executives or the sales guys. We're going to go straight to the developers. So that's a big way that we do that. We work with our sales team in collaboration to drive the market. We're a channel-based company, so we work with distribution and make sure we're listening to the trends that they're seeing in the market as well, and basing our marketing around what's trending, where we need to grow, and things like that.
Got it. Great. Thank you for that. All right, again, if folks have a question, use the chat function or the question function. We'll get to as many as we can. We've only got about 5 minutes left. We'll jump to this one next. It says, how much of your marketing is selling your products and services versus sharing helpful content to win mind share and gain the trust of the prospect? I guess I'll throw that out to anybody who wants to answer that. So again, how much of your marketing is selling products and services versus sharing helpful content to win mind share and gain the trust of prospects?
I don't mind taking that one, Jim. Or sorry, Melissa, do you want to go ahead?
No, go ahead, Matt.
No, I was just going to say very quickly, I think it can be a mix of the two. I don't think there's a magic bullet when it comes to marketing or sales. So I think the more touch points you can have, right, where it could be a mix of inbound marketing and great content. Like I know, like even Melissa from your side, Vend has a great blog, right? So if maybe if you were looking to acquire more merchants, maybe you put out a bunch of educational content that's well aligned with whatever niche you're looking to market to, and then you understand that customer, and then can maybe do some of the more direct marketing, like maybe it's pay-per-click advertising, maybe it's more direct selling, but it needs multiple touch points to convert any type of prospect, right? So I think it's there's a world where both work really well together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a great point. I think for Vend, we're kind of split in the middle. I think just being able to produce content that helps retailers, that gives information, whether it's our retailers or other retailers in the world using a different point of sale. I think just being able to provide them with as much information to help them sort of navigate through retail, connect them with other retailers is key, and that's proven to help us greatly. So yeah, it's kind of split in the middle there.
Great, thank you. Anybody else want to weigh in on that question about balancing sales versus content from a marketing standpoint?
Sure, this is Brianna. I think there's definitely two very split opinions when it comes to marketing in a thought leadership type of way and directly promoting products. If you work with a salesperson and you provide them with more thought leadership, kind of, dangling the bait kind of material, they're going to say, where's the product? But all sales go through a funnel, and at the top of that funnel sits the marketing. So, and a lot of these customers that we're going after, sometimes they don't know that they need your product. So it's definitely about the education before you get to that sales pitch. And Jim, I mean, you are an expert in it. Your podcast is titled, you want to be a trusted advisor to the customer, not just a sales rep.
Got it. Great. Yeah, it's no accident the RSPA podcast is titled The Trusted Advisor, right? We're not trying to be subtle about it. So, all right, let's see if we can turn on the audio of Tim Shane. Tim is asking a question about MailChimp versus social media. So, Tim, if you're unmuted and your audio works, if you can pose your question.
Hey, can you hear
Tim,
me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Can you? Okay, great.
Yes.
Sorry, we got a little bit of noise. We're moving this month. So just, I wanted everybody's opinion, and hey, Matt. Hey, good. Your opinion, everyone's opinion about sort of the expectations when you're using social media versus a MailChimp campaign of either generating leads or sales. Like, which platform would you find a little bit more effective and spending more, marketing, collateral on that? Which of those areas? I'm going to mute myself.
Thanks, Tim. Who wants to take that question?
I don't mind chiming in, or anyone else.
No, you go first, Matt.
Yeah, so I suppose social media versus like marketing automation platforms, there's probably a world where you can do both without, and I'm giving another diplomatic answer, but like MailChimp and Constant Contact and Reply.io and a lot of those different marketing automation platforms have integrations themselves, right? And they can do some interesting things like ingest transaction data to understand loyalty lists. And like there is probably a world where you do some direct, you can do some kind of, probably more like Brianna was saying, top of the funnel type activities, more inbound marketing, more education. And then if you know who you're talking to and you have built up a loyalty list or a prospect list where you really understand the type of people that you're looking to communicate with, like there probably is a world there where you can do some of the more direct stuff. And it depends if you're talking about like net new acquisitions, or are you looking to use something like MailChimp or Reply.io or Constant Contact to go and go and upsell or cross-sell existing customers. So there, and I know a lot of those platforms as well have ads integrations too. So if you were to take, like MailChimp, there could be Google Ads integration there as well, where you could probably do a bit of both, right? So yeah, is that helpful, Tim, or does that make sense?
I think Tim muted himself, so we'll have to go that he's nodding his head because we're actually right up against it now. Anybody else want to weigh in and provide some information to Tim about balancing marketing automation with social media and for lead gen? Nope. All right. So last quick question for the group, and if somebody can take this in less than a minute, it's can you share specifics in terms of how you draw the line between being persistent and annoying? Who wants to be brave enough to take that one?
I can take that.
Please.
Yeah, so I mean, there is a fine line between persistence and then being annoying. I think that if you have, and this kind of goes back to the original topic, if your marketing and sales are not aligned and synced, then marketing can be blasting this customer over and over that has already agreed to do business with you, and then rub them the wrong way, and that customer changed their mind. So that is why there needs to be that constant communication between the sales and marketing team. That doesn't directly answer your question, but you know, from my perspective, I think that's really the only way you can make sure that you're not towing that line or crossing that line, is making sure that if you are communicating with prospects from a marketing side, that you know, you're doing it in a way that makes sense to how the sales team is interacting with them, if they've interacted with them, or if they're already agreeing to do business, if that makes sense.
Got it. Great. Thank you. And we will end on that note. Just a couple things before we head out. First, big thanks again to our featured guests, Matt, Melissa, Alejandro, and Brianna. Thank you so much for sharing your insights and your wisdom with us today. So again, thanks to our featured guests. Thanks to our community sponsors of the NextGen Community, APG, Blue Star, Star, and Epson. Thanks to our annual sponsors, Blue Star, Shift4, Heartland, ScanSource, and Star. And don't forget, Retail Now is where the industry still meets. Be sure to register for the event starting today. Everybody attending this webinar will receive the recording on demand. And as we said at the outset, one lucky attendee will receive a copy of the book Permission Marketing by Seth Godin. And the winner of that is Matt Thomas from Future POS in Ohio. Congratulations, Matt, on winning that book. We'll be sure to get that out to you right away. So again, thanks to everybody for making today's Retail IT Community Roundtable possible. We hope you learned a lot of best practices to sync sales and marketing. I certainly took a lot of notes, and looking forward to getting feedback when we do share this additionally on an on-demand format. So again, thanks everybody for attending today. Thanks so much for your questions. Thanks to our featured guests as well. And thanks to all of the RSPA members for making this community such a great one. Have a great day, everybody. Goodbye.